What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Summit content. This is Season 7 Power Rankings. Once again, like the climb I just recorded, I will be bringing on multiple or people from the season to do their own power rankings as well. That is the ultimate goal this season. So, however, I didn't find anyone that was willing to do it. But if you are interested about being on the Summit content team and recording, power rankings or talking about the games, please let myself or Gar know, and we will get in contact with you and see what we can, cook up. Talk about shit about people or something like that. But, anyways. This is power rankings for week 1. So, how this is going to work? We're just going to go by roll, and then at the very end I'll talk about the teams and my power rankings. So, yes, this is all my opinion. So if you don't like my opinion, that's on you, because I really don't care. But I'm going to go through each one and give you the reason why they're in the spot they are. So, with that in mind, let's get into it. Starting off with my role, the top lane. So, I think this is pretty self-explanatory, but I got Gumby number 1, Guildborn number 2, Seeker, X-Ray, Zerner, and Vegan. So, Gumby, why is he number 1? He didn't have the best of showing this week, but he's still a challenger player. I think he's still getting used to not only his new team, but I think he is still a confident player. And it's kind of the same thing with Guildborn. He also didn't have the best of showing. He definitely had some good. His Darius game was very good. However, he was like 4-1. And then ended the game, I believe it was 5-6. Yeah, so it's one point he was 4-1, ended the game 5-6. So now, granted, why is Seeker, X-Ray, or Vegan, the 3 people that won their games, why are they not higher? It's because I'm still giving Gumby and Guildborn the respect they deserve. Now, I think I can almost confidently say I think Gumby and Guildborn are almost always going to be that 1-2 spot. Maybe one week they switch, but unless Seeker or the other 4 top laners have just a phenomenal week, and I just want to reward them for their play. I'll move them higher and maybe even put them 1 or 2. But this week, I don't think anyone really deserved being 1-2 besides Gumby and Guildborn, so that's why they're here. So it really just comes down to who is 3, 4, 5, 6. So, Seeker, I think had just a better week overall than me. I definitely had... my Renekton game wasn't super great, but my Orin and Malphite game were really good. And the same thing with Seeker. He had... sorry. Oh, shit, I didn't even realize. Vegan won. Oh, the bottom 3 won. I just realized that. But, anyways, back on topic. Oh no, Seeker did win. Okay, so I'm not crazy. I'm crazy, guys. I'm crazy. I've done drugs. Anyways, back. I think Seeker just had a better performance this week. I mean, we actually won on the same exact champions. We played Orin Malphite and won the Orin and Malphite games. But I just think Seeker played better this week. That's why I'm putting him above myself. I think just based on the Renekton game alone, I'm going to put myself below him. But I still think my Ornn and Malphite games were very good. And then Zerner and Vegan. So these are the last two. So we have a gold player and I believe a plat player. And I think Zerner is the plat player, gold player. I don't remember. I'm not gonna pull it up right now. But I think when I'm looking at the games, Zerner had confidence, I would say, in most of the series, I would say, with their picks. Now Vegan, yes, I think he's playing, those those tanks. However, I'm not really seeing a whole lot of light from him, or like a chance to actually do something in some of these games. There was a couple plays where he seems very unknown of what he's doing, so that's why I'm putting him last over Zerner. Zerner, seems like he knows what he's doing, and maybe he's just not executing on it as well. His Jax game, very good. His Mordekaiser game, somewhat good. Had a couple, good fights, but just ultimately just not able to, hold it for his team or carry his team. And yeah, that's gonna wrap up my top lane list. Moving on to my jungles. Number 1, Ready. Number 2, Bouncy. Number 3, BR. 4, Blob. 5, Tyskool. And 6, Luton. Luton, I'm gonna get a very angry DM from you. I'm expecting it already. But Ready, number 1. Pretty obvious in my opinion. I think if you just look at the Mbessa and Darius games, you can clearly see he is putting in a lot of work. And I did debate on myself about putting Bouncy number 1, because Bouncy had a phenomenal week, played really well. I believe went deathless in the Lilia game, and then I didn't save. Oh no, it did. Yeah, so it went deathless in the Lilia game, and then went 8-2-11 on Nocturne. So Bouncy, I see you. You had a phenomenal week. That's why you're number 2. However, I still think Riddy is better. And yeah, that's why Bouncy is number 2. BR, even though he lost, he was still making plays around the map and contributing to his team in very large ways. And I think his Wukong game, really well done. Getting Gar the help he needs in a lot of these fights, and his ultimates were very strong in the team fights. So really well done. The Lee Sin wasn't too bad. I definitely wasn't totally impressed. I've seen better Lee Sins. Granted, I know you don't play jungle. I know you're playing it in, I believe, another league, but I wouldn't say it was your best showing, I would say. And then I don't have... Why do I not have my other game? Well, whatever. Oh, you played J4. J4, I just don't think it was the best, especially when you already have 2 strong AD champs in Xayah and Aatrox, and you don't know if you're actually picking an AP mid laner, or maybe the plan was to take Aatrox top, and then I picked Malphite, and they're like, oh, can't do the Aatrox top now, it's bad, or something like that. But I don't know. I just don't think the J4 was super great. So that's why you're number 3. And Blob. Now Blob didn't win his series. However, he was playing out of his mind. Now I did win last season with Blob, so I love the guy. He's a super chill guy, and he's a very, very talented player. However, I think it's going to be hard for him to play this season just due to what he has on his team. He's going from having Nico on his team from last season to this season having Gix in the mid lane. And it's not saying that Gix is bad or anything like that. I just think it's going to be he's going to have to learn how to play the game in a different way than he had to do last season. But still, played really well. Trundle game, fantastic. Then he had the Kha'Zix game. He had a lead, but his team was just so far behind that he just couldn't do anything about it. And then Xin Zhao. I mean, he has 8 kills, or he has more kills than his whole team combined. So that's what I'm saying. And then Ty's cool. I think Ty had some. I'm trying to remember what Ty played. Oh yeah, Lilia and Skarner. The Skarner game was not it. Did not really like it. J4 was. I thought J4 was fine. Lilia, pretty good, but the Skarner wasn't it. And I just think Blob played better than you this week, so that's why you're 5. And Lewin, I am gonna be honest, you were just getting caught up way too much, and that's why you're last. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. In terms of roles, of how stacked each role is and how hard it is to rate, Jungle was my second hardest. So, just because of how good the players are. But anyways, moving on to our mid lane. I got Tubby. Tubby's number 1. And then I got Shibs, Gar, Harley, Gix, and Sunny. Now, let me start off by saying, Sunny, Sunny's team, which is, hang on, I'm remembering, it's Catboy and Jers. Sunny had to use a sub. Sunny is going to be playing mid lane traditionally. He is last because he hasn't played mid lane yet. That's the only reason he's last. Yes, I could rate him depending on how he played support, right? But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to base it on his mid play. So he hasn't played mid yet. That's why he's last. And that's going to apply to the same 2 people in support role that haven't played yet. But we'll get to that later. So, starting off, Tubby. Man, Tubby, you had a really good week this week. The Syndra and the Aurora were very good, very good. Love the Syndra. I thought it was very good. Made some good plays for your team and excellent kills. And then the Aurora game, getting that quadra kill. Pretty much the reason I put you number 1 this week is because you got that quadra kill. So props to you. You're number 1 this week. However, I think Shibs at number 2 spot is going to be taking it over this next week. Because I think Shibs is a really good player, especially with Riddy. Now, does Riddy help make Shibs shine? Yes. But Shibs has the potential to be, I think, number 1 on this league. I think between the top 3 that I have here, Tubby, Shibs, and Gar, I think these 3 are going to be swapping every week between each other. And then moving on to Gar. He had a fantastic Vigar game. The Hui was not great, but did he play it semi-well? Yes. But I think Reddy just was able to just abuse you way too easily, and that's granted that wasn't best jungle, so nothing you were expecting, but still pretty good. And then finally the Aatrox. The Aatrox mid was just weird. I think wasn't a huge fan of it, but it was mainly the Vigar game. I think your Vigar game alone kind of carried you to this number 3 spot. And then Harley. I think Harley, in terms of who did better, Harley or Gix, I think Harley did better, even though both teams lost. I think Harley just had a better performance uh, in the week. Granted, the Lux game wasn't great, but the Oriana game was pretty solid. You know, you kind of kept your team in there or tried to, but unfortunately, you just couldn't follow it. And then Gix. Now I know he had a really good, solid game 2, but if you look at game 1 and 3 alone, you kind of understand why he's last this week. Granted, he wasn't playing against the other team's mid laner. He was playing against a Masters mid laner. So, you know, when you're supposed to be playing against a Diamond mid laner. So, yes, it sucks, Gix. But I really didn't want to put Sunny any higher because he hasn't played yet in the mid lane. So, you're 5, but you're technically last. So, let's just get that straight. But I still love you. Love Riley. He's the homie. Love that guy. So, but he's also role swapped. There's a lot of people role swapping this season. So, I'm expecting a lot of people to jump around in the power rankings in the next coming weeks as well. But moving on to the ADC. ADC role. This is by far the most stacked role. The lowest ranked player, which I believe is... I don't even know. I don't know who... I think someone's Diamond. And that's the lowest rank. Then you have, like... I think the majority of these players are actually Masters. I think Foreign Guy is a Diamond player. And then I think JGGT is also Diamond. Sai is Grandmasters, I believe. Asteria's Diamond. Different is, I believe, Masters. And I think Heiko's also Masters. So, a lot of people that are Masters. But, moving on to my list, I have Asteria, number 1, Sai, number 2, JGGT, Foreign Guy, Different, and Heiko. So, let me address something. Heiko is not a bad player. Asteria, not a bad player either. However, if you have watched The Climb yet, I talked about these two players being coin flip players. The coin flip players, this is how it's going to work. Only for Asteria and Heiko. If you coin flip and you lose, you're going to get last on my list, no matter what. However, if you coin flip and win, I will reward you by putting you high up in the list. At least, guaranteed top 3, at least. But, in the other sense, if you both lose, whoever lost less, I guess, will get that 5 seed versus the 6 seed. So, and then if you both do good, then I gotta put you at 1-2, I guess, or 2-3, whoever does better. How about that? But going over my list now, Asteria. Yeah, I mean, just the better coin flip player this week. The Yunara game alone was phenomenal. 21-2 was Asteria's score versus Heiko's 3-8. And then, Asteria didn't even play bad in his one loss. I mean, 6-2 was pretty good. Heiko 5-3, and then finally, Asteria and Heiko pretty much in the game 3 were just playing the scaling matchup of Sivir versus Smolder, who scales up faster, basically. And Asteria just had better fights and just got more stacks. And it was mainly Pyros', honestly, being that Irelia with 20 kills. So that's why Asteria is number 1. And then Sai, I was really debating on putting him number 1 over Asteria, but I think Psy's game 2 was worse than Asteria's game 3, in my opinion. They both played Smolder, but I think Asteria played a little bit better than Psy. Not saying Psy played better or anything like that. I just think Asteria played better this week. So, but if you look at your Gnar game alone, I mean, very similar to Asteria's game going 15-7. But that's pretty much why he's number 2, is because he played the game better than, you know, his opponent, and that's basically how League of Legends works. And I have JGT. Honestly, game 1 was very rough for him. You know, just playing with first time playing as a team, and then you're also you're playing with a sub, so you're not getting that practice in with your starting sub. So I definitely think it was rough, but ultimately was not too bad. And then second game, Varus wasn't bad. I mean, definitely fell behind, but pretty good play. And then last game with the MF, I just think his MF was a leading force to why he's in this number 3 spot. And then next, Foreign Guy. Now, Foreign Guy Indifferent, I think. Well, I'll talk about Different separately. Foreign Guy, I don't think he played bad. He actually had a fairly good performance besides his game 3, which I believe went. I'm gonna find it real quick. Oh, I didn't save it by accident. Did not play super great. I think it went like 1-7 or something like that, 1-9. So not a great performance overall. So that's ultimately, or not ultimately, but his Sivir and Lucian game, I think, played very well. I think he played phenomenally in those 2 games, even though they one of them ended up in one of them ended in a loss. I still think they played well, but Different. This is, I believe, Different is actually a Masters player, and granted, you are playing against Psy, which is a GM player. I was expecting more from you. You know, being that Masters player. Now, will it change next week? Yes, 100%. I don't even know who you play against, but I definitely think it's going to go different. See what I did there? But I think you will play better next week. Now, yes, you are 5th, but I still think you can grow from this and be better. And I think you could still, you know, be that better player. So, like I said, and Heiko is last, and I kind of covered it earlier while talking with about Asteria. Coin flip player, he lost the coin flip. That's why he's last. So, but like I said, this is probably the most stacked role this season. So, expect everyone to move constantly on a week-to-week basis. So, if you play well, you get to stay up there, or you get to move up, and if you play bad, you get moved down. Pretty self-explanatory. And yeah, moving on to the support role. Starting off, I got Spearman. Honestly, I think Spearman had a phenomenal week. Played superb in his 2 games. I watched his POV. Really good comms, and knows a lot about the game, and just pushed his lead where he could. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about him, because he played everything well. His Braum and Nautilus were awesome. Kai, is my number 2 spot. And even though Kai lost, I still think Kai played way better than the other 2 supports below him this week. And I think his Nami game was excellent. The Nautilus was okay. I definitely think it was more to be desired. And then the Rakan, I don't think it was super great, but I think it was good enough for the game. But ultimately still lost it. And the Beartail and Sunshine. I think Beartail, granted, he is a fill player, but I think he's playing with Heiko. And I'm not saying it's Heiko's fault or anything like that, but I think you have to be in a certain mindset as playing with a coin flip player. You have to know, hey, I have to, if my ADC is going in, I have to follow him. Granted, it looks like you did looking at a lot of the deaths right now, but I would say, like, overall, I think Sunshine, while didn't play terribly, I think Sunshine is going to struggle this season. That's all I'm really going to say about Beartail and Sunshine, because I don't really have a whole lot else. But Gamer D and Dean, yes, they both didn't play this week, so that's why they're a bottom. Now, why is Dean last? Because Dean is bad. That's all I got. But we have our one last slide here, and we're going to go over the team power rankings. So, I have X Unit. That's me. That's my team. Bias. I'm going to say bias here. And then I got Catboy and Jers. I was really debating on which team do I think is better of Catboy and Jers and Vanguard, and ultimately I went with Catboy because I think I think Asteria and Dean versus Psy and Spiritman is going to be somewhat close. I'm like looking at that top lane, like last Vegan versus Seeker. I think Seeker takes it. Sunny Blues versus Tubby. I would say Sunny Blues is a little favored, not by much though. And then Ty versus Bouncy. It's definitely Bouncy favored, but I think honestly I could switch these two. Honestly, if Asteria Dean coin flips and wins, Catboy. But vice versa, they lose, Vanguard. So 2-3, I could switch either way. Honestly, I think they're very interchangeable right now. So, but we'll see what happens in this next coming week, and see if they move at all. And then Gar's third grade class. The name was so big that it would not fit on the line, so I made it GTGC. Even though they lost this week, they definitely have some life in them, and I think they can take games off of Fraud Watch and Alien Forkins. And Fraud Watch, even though they did lose, they did take that one game off of Catboy and Jers. I was thinking of the name. But I still think you still have that problem of that coin flip in Heiko. So it's very problematic right now. And I just don't know if you have... I don't know if you have another carry than Heiko at the moment. That's just my personal opinion. And then LA and Forkins, just based on performance of last week by every player on LA and Forkins, I have to put them last. So, and it's nothing against them. I just think the team played poorly, and that's why they're last. So, yeah, that is gonna wrap up this week of power rankings. Like I said, if anyone is interested in wanting to participate in these, these episodes of the Climb or the power rankings, please feel free to DM myself or Gar, and we will get in contact and see if we can't schedule for the following week or for next week. So, but with that, thank you all for watching, and we will catch you next week on the power rankings. Deuces.